block it until everyone say, Seahawks wins.
Take that.
Not where to go, but when to go.
Just might keep on going.
What was the other thing I was supposed to do? Oh, there we go.
That's been when we get down to
What are you talking about right now?
number D.
That's mine.
I didn't put it there.
I know, I'm just... I know. Sorry, thank you.
She said she went well.
One of my favorite council members.
They're watching.
Mine
I hear about this kind of stuff. Don't you?
No, nobody talks to me about city council.
Monkeys over there were live, right?
Yeah.
If they don't knock it off, we'll just make them all go back in that room, and when blood runs out, we'll keep whichever one's still alive.
Are you talking about me and Beth? I'll win because I fight dirty. And we're on time. Good evening, everybody. It's Monday, December 2nd. This is a regular meeting for the City Council of Woodland, Washington. If I can please get everyone to silence your cell phones and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Works fine.
Isn't it? Mrs. Hartman, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Rounds.
Here.
Councilmember Plaza.
Here.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Here.
Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Chapman.
Here.
Councilmember Humbard.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here. All right, all council members are accounted for. Moving on to presentations and proclamations, we have none this evening. Moving on to citizen communications for items not on the agenda. I have no one who has signed up at this moment, but now's your opportunity to step forward if you failed to do so at the beginning of the meeting. Seeing no one, moving on to citizen communication for items on the agenda. We have Mr. Rod, is it Schultz?
Yes, sir.
I'll have you step forward, please. State your name and address and allot 5 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Rod Schultz. I reside at 4961 Green Mountain Road. I have my company is here in Woodland at 1555 Downriver Drive. I moved to Woodland in the early 90s, leased out some offices from the port, brought my company up here, looked for some property. I found some property to move my offices to. I purchased 10 acres from Tony's Farms. As I did my due diligence and everything at that point in time, felt it was a little too far premature for me and probably to move where the property was for what I wanted to do. So I ended up buying another piece of property from Downriver Forest Products, or Wright Brothers, and I purchased some property there and remodeled, cleaned that area up, and put my offices over there. And through seeing what was happening in Woodland and the growth was kind of slow, but I knew it was going to hit one day. And so I bought another piece, 10 acres from Mr. McDowell, right parallel adjacent to my Thony property. And at that point in time, I was going to move my offices over there, put an RV boat storage place in, but it has to be the timing is right. And as we got closer with everybody pursuing the residential side growing so crazy in the Richfield, the center, Woodland area, so I thought, well, you know what, I need to do something here and make it better around here. So we wanted to put an RV storage park in. So I've been talking to Travis throughout probably a year or so on some road going through there. So I went over and met with the city and the fire marshal and everything about putting our RV storage place in. And met with the fire department, got my engineerings involved. And so then it come up that possibly moratorium's coming in. So I just would like to ask you to grant me my right to put this thing in. I did start before the moratorium comes in. You guys have got better control, know what's happening than I do. So what you do after that, I mean, it's up to you guys what to do, but I think due diligence, we were there, and I'd like to have that right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Schultz. I'm going to ask it. Council can't ask questions, but I can. Can you? I'm sorry. I hate to call you back up. I should have had you wait as I was writing. I just have a few questions just for clarification for council's purposes. How long have you been working on putting the storage facility in, or the planning process?
Probably, in our own mind, it's probably been over a year to 2 years working on it. Last year, we went in and cleaned up a lot. Probably 6-7 years ago, there was a thought of bringing this in when I bought the other piece of property from McDougal. So internally, 6-7, probably outboard, talking to Travis probably within the last year or so, year and a half.
Okay. And what steps have you taken to make it happen at this point? Have you gone through the pre-app process?
We went through pre-app.
Okay, so you've submitted a pre-application?
I guess what you take, I met with the city, the fire marshal, what to do on water flow and what we had to do out there.
Okay.
Where to put the garbage cans, how to fence it off, how much clearance I need to do for the fire truck behind the buildings and stuff. So we've gone through all that, laid the drawings out, met with my engineers, got them on board for road control, erosion, volume. Everything they listed in their list, we turned over to our engineering people to get going for us. We've been doing a lot of internal engineering in our officer's house.
Okay. And estimate cost of what you've invested into this project, not counting the property?
Probably 30, I would say.
Okay.
With just my people, what we've done, had to do or more.
When were you notified that the moratorium was possible?
I think I was hunting when Travis called me and said it was, there's a moratorium coming down.
Okay, was that the last meeting or?
Yeah, because I wasn't here the last meeting.
Maybe a week before the last meeting.
Okay. Okay, thank you, appreciate that. All right, if there's anyone else in the gallery who failed to sign up for items on the agenda, now's your opportunity to step forward and speak. All right, seeing no one else. Moving on to portion for the agenda approval.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. You gonna pull that?
Yeah, if you'd like to. I was going to wait under my report to ask, but it's up to you guys.
Who is the second?
Mr. Plaza.
Okay, do you want me to take it back and do it again?
If we're gonna pull it, might as well just pull it now.
You can pull it now.
Yeah. So, in approving the agenda, not as presented, I want to remove F, action item F.
Second. Didn't know she was done.
Yes.
Did we want to do the addition also?
Oh, you want me to put that on here now as well? So we'll reel it all back. In front of you this evening is ordinance number 1450, and that is in relation to the levy lid lift that has successfully passed in the city of Woodland for the police department. In order for us to receive our funding in 2020 for that measure, action needs to be taken, and I'm asking that council add ordinance number 1450 on the agenda for consideration to be sent off to county, both counties. Mr. Boyce?
Yes, and it would be the first reading.
Do you want me just to add it to it, since it's really screwed up already? Okay, along with all the other things, we're going to add ordinance 1450, first reading, to discuss.
And we'll call that action item
F.
G.
G.
Action item G, ordinance number 1450.
And I'll second it again.
Okay. So agenda, motion on the floor to approve the agenda with the removal of action item F, adding action item G, ordinance number 1450, by Councilmember Humberg and seconded by Councilmember Plaza. Will the clerk please take the vote?
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Hubbard.
Aye.
Councilmember Grams.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
All right, agenda has been approved. Moving on to reports of City Council.
Pretty slow week.
It's been-
Next week, I have all
Holiday
kinds
week.
of stuff.
It was a holiday week.
I
Yeah.
know it did sound like it. Oh, it's
Seeing no takers this evening, moving on to reports of standing committees. Public Works.
Mrs. Coleman has a presentation this evening, so I'm going to defer our comments to her, so, our report.
Right.
Our next meeting is January the 6th at 5:30.
Thank you. Public Safety.
We did not have a meeting in November. Our next meeting is December 16th, 4:30 at the Police Station Training Room.
And Human Resources.
Yeah, we didn't have a meeting last month either, and our next meeting is on December 16th at 5:30 in the council chambers conference room.
All right. Thank you. Reports of advisory committees, Mrs. Graham, Chamber of Commerce.
Sure, can do that. We have an after-hours coming up this Thursday evening at the golf course. It is our Christmas in a Box we are celebrating. Starts at 5 o'clock, so come and enjoy and bring your change and get a mystery box. We still meet Tuesday afternoons, 12 to 1 p.m. at the Grange. It is a brown bag lunch. We are still looking for applications for Citizen of the Year, Employee of the Year, and Business of the Year. I checked today. We are kind of short on applications. This is kind of a serious little situation for the chamber because we would like to honor our people in town. So you can go online to the chamber website and find the applications. Turn them in by, well, hopefully the 13th of December. You can do that at the Visitor Information Center. We're having our annual Christmas party the 17th of December. We are planning our celebrating business banquet, and that is the 18th of January, not the 16th is on the agenda, at the Heathman Lodge, starting at 5 o'clock. And as of today, the chamber also has a new executive director. Her name is Denise Miller. She started to work today for us. So we are looking forward to some exciting times.
All right.
That should be it.
Questions for Mrs. Graham?
I just wanted to
You wanna
add,
add?
Janice, that if anyone's coming to the Christmas program, it starts at 11:30 that
Oh,
day.
that's right, yeah.
And goes to 1 o'clock.
Yes. And
So
for
lunch.
for that particular day, we are providing lunch, and we have the high school jazz choir coming for entertainment.
Where-
So doing it at the Grange.
Yes.
What day is that one?
That's a Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, the 17th,
The 17th, okay.
and it will start at 11:30. Because we do a little, with the entertainment, and we do a Christmas gift exchange also.
Gotcha. All right. All right, questions for Mrs. Graham? All right, seeing none. Ms. Humbert, we'll start your list here.
Okay, well, Howard's Wakayakan Council of Governments, we did not have a meeting in November because of the holiday and all of the other things going on. Our next meeting is December 19th at 1 o'clock at the County Expo Center. 12 o'clock.
And DWR.
And Downtown Woodland Revitalization, our next meeting is December 10th. All right? December 10th at 9 o'clock at the Grange.
All right. And you're looking for 2 members, which I believe I've found. How many folks stepped down off the board?
Well,
Just one?
I don't know that anybody
Oh,
did.
Not officially.
Not officially.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
She didn't want to be secretary.
Oh, okay.
Or treasurer, or whatever she
Gotcha,
was.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
I'm not treasurer.
Okay. All right. Moving on to reports to city officers. Let's see, we already took care of ordinance 1450, we pulled that one. The only thing I asked of council this evening is action item D on your agenda, and that is the final budget for 2020. If you could please pull Fund 107 and separately, and have a separate vote on Fund 107. That has to do with the hotel motel lodging tax. We have 2 members of council that will need to step out of the room during that portion of the discussion. So if you could do that for me, that would be great. Had a wonderful holiday last week. I hope everybody else did too. Spent some wonderful time with some family. I think I gained 4 pounds. It was great. It was awesome. I ate a lot. Something else that I wanted to... when considering the budget, please understand that I know that the passage of Proposition 1 has been successful as of this afternoon at 5 o'clock. There's been no challenge for a recount from either side. So it has finalized, and that it has passed by 1 vote. With that said, the budget that sits in front of you this evening is the same budget that was presented to you earlier through the process. We have not changed it, and we don't plan on changing it until January, and we'll bring it back for a budget amendment for discussion once everything has been tabulated and numbers look good. We don't want to be too premature with our counting of that. And, so moving forward, we'll begin the discussion on that proposition or for the levy lift in January. Just so council is aware, we still stand by the budget that's in front of you. It is extremely conservative, and I hope that as Mr. Frederick stated at the last meeting, it is unsustainable as is. Even with the passage of Proposition 1, we still have some work ahead of us, and I look forward to our discussion early next year with the council retreat. Although this helps, it is not a knight in shining armor, as I've stated before, so this is going to be a wonderful addition for our law enforcement department here in the city. They need it, they deserve it, so I'm happy that it's passed. So understand the budget in front of you does not include that at this time. Also, we're struggling with getting our vacancies filled. We had another park board member resign due to personal life business getting too busy. So we're down another vacancy there, and we have yet to receive any applications with the exception of one for the Horseshoe Lake Management Committee that is supposed to take place on January 1st. So it doesn't appear that that will be moving forward. We have no takers. How many folks do we have on the park board right now after Mr. Settlemeyer's departure?
3.
So we still have a quorum. There's 5?
2. I apologize.
We only have 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got that out for consideration for park board members, but at this time we don't have a quorum to have a meeting of the park board, so. And we were down one already.
Justin in Virginia.
Tom?
How about Mike Curry?
Mike stepped down as well.
Mike stepped down? Okay, so Tom took his place? And Brad Hammonds?
I think we only have 2. I'm pretty sure we only have 2.
Susan Hubbard's available January 1st.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
So Tom didn't take Mike's place?
Tom's not on there. Tom was.
We appointed him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tom hasn't been to the meeting.
Oh,
We haven't
okay.
had a meeting since Tom.
Appointed and said I'm out.
So we have 2.
We have 2. Okay, so we don't have a quorum at this time.
Correct.
It would be nice if someone from our community could step up and be a good team player to help us out. Just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I'll do it.
14 years isn't enough.
14 years isn't enough. We need more. So, anyway, we're working on it. We still have some
Talk about this.
vacancies out there, so we're hoping that we could get some folks to step forward. We have another month. But currently, at this moment, our park board is non-existent, and no meetings are occurring.
Because we only had one person that was able to show up, so we canceled it. Last week.
So-
I was at the last one and they canceled it.
FYI, we didn't have one.
Figured that out.
Questions for me? All right, Mr. Boyce.
Okay, just a couple other budget items to mention. The Fund 107, we don't have any expenditure appropriations right now. It's all in fund balance. So after City Council reconvenes to consider it, after the first of the year, a budget amendment can be made to proportion it out the way City Council sees fit. So just wanted to mention that. Also,
Can I ask, Mr. Boyce?
yes.
Just a clarifying question, so then we are not, then a motion to adopt Fund 107 would be inappropriate at this time after approval of adoption of the budget?
We can't.
Unless City Council wanted to put an appropriation.
Didn't we do that at the last meeting?
I think I messed up here. I think that we had to pull 107. It can't be considered until January 6th meeting.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so I
Because of
take
the
back my,
45-day?
because of the 45-day
Got it.
window, because you did not take the advice of the Lodging Tax Board. I forgot about that.
That's right.
So please pull 107, and ladies, you will not need to step out this evening, and that will be considered a January 6th meeting. Sorry.
Okay. That's correct. Okay, I also wanted to mention we're having our all-city safety meeting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. in this room. We're still trying to make sure employees are working safely. We have our monthly and quarterly safety meetings. It's a continuation to reinforce that safety in the workplace is paramount. I think we all know what happened a few years back at the wastewater treatment plant. And we want to make sure that safety is a top concern and in everyone's minds. So that will be happening tomorrow. City Action Days is coming up January 28th and 29th. We've reserved a few hotel rooms for that, but we need to know fairly soon if any city councilors are going to attend. So if you could contact me and let me know if your calendar is open. So
What's the date on that?
January 28th and 29th.
What's port date up there?
29th, or the 30th.
Okay.
No, I can't remember.
So just to make sure that's on your radar, and the sooner we know, the better. We did have to put some city councilor names with the rooms. They won't let us do it without individuals' names. So if you get a funky email saying you have a reservation, that's why we can still cancel it at no charge, but we need to. And AWC does audit that also, so eventually we'll get a call if we don't have someone registered for the event. So please let me know. Other than that, we have a notation of liquor license renewal at Michaela's Tienda Mexicana, 131 Davidson. There's a cannabis renewal for RTL Industries. That's a marijuana processor. So it's not retail, it's a processor. We talked about park board vacancies. We need to update that. Horseshoe Lake Management Committee vacancies. We discussed that. Upcoming city community events, December 5th. We have the Chamber After Hours that we talked about at Lewis River Golf Course, 5 p.m. December 5th, Planning Commission has a special meeting, 7 p.m. in this room. December 7th, Winterfest, tree lighting at Horseshoe Lake Shelter and Park. December 9th, the Finance Committee meets at 5:30 p.m. at City Hall. FCS group is going to do a presentation. That's the group that's doing our utility rate study. December 10th, the State Auditor exit meeting at 3 p.m. at City Hall. So if any city councilors would like to attend, please let me know. December 16th, reception to recognize Susan Humbert, council member at VFW, 3 to 5:30. January 16th, 2020
It'd be the 18th, Pete.
All right, January 16th, the installation of 2020 officers, 5 PM at Heathland Lodge, Chamber, and January 28th, 29th, City Action Days, which we discussed.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Saturday, December 14th, there'll be the VFW breakfast at the VFW from 7 to 11. Please come join us and help support our local veterans. Thank you.
And the tree lighting's on the 14th.
7.
No, 7th.
Seven.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, it's right there.
It's
I'm supposed to be there, too. Yeah.
there.
6 PM.
I say that to remind myself.
This Saturday.
That's this
You
Saturday?
better write 6 on that,
Ooh,
too.
I need an assistant. Okay. The 14th. True. The 14th in the morning, right?
Right.
Okay, I thought, gosh.
7 to 11.
I don't know what's wrong with me. All
That's
right.
all right.
Questions for Mr. Boyce?
I have one.
Mr. Fredericks?
Mr. Boyce, you mentioned safety. Who was the agency that we ended up paying a settlement to or a fine to? What agency was that?
Department of Labor and Industry. I believe.
Have we ever had them back out to try to get a refund on that, to have them provide us maybe do a safety audit and invite them in and see what we're doing well, and
Well,
maybe they can offer some pointers?
We can ask them back out and request a refund. However, it was
We're gonna laugh at you.
very difficult to get the fine down to the 25,000, down from, I think it was around 90.
It was.
So it was very difficult to get it down that far. We can sure try it.
No, I'm not suggesting that I'm suggesting get a rebate with them to offer some guidance to say, hey, you guys are doing a really good job at this. You might want to look at this and this and this without them fining us, obviously, but get them in here and invite them in and see what we're doing well at, and see what areas. It's certainly worth a look to, we shouldn't be scared about safety. Bring them in.
And we do that with our insurance.
Yeah.
Mrs. Hartman said, we get a list, they go through all our buildings and facilities. And we did hire an industrial hygienist to go through our safety manuals and train some individual employees.
Okay.
So we've been taking proactive steps, but yeah, I can make a call and see if we can set something.
Yeah, I don't.
If council recalls, I attempted that when we were going through the process of finding. I believe the fine that we ended up paying them was $50,000, and we attempted to get it to 25.
That was
Yeah,
25.
I think it was 25.
Did we get it down to 25? I'm still irritated by the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I requested that they come out and go through everything with us at no charge and help us get to exactly what you're suggesting, Mr. Fredericks, and we were politely told, no, we don't do that.
Oh.
So, I
Okay.
guess, I mean, we have tried, but we can certainly try again.
Well, I don't know.
I would like to see that partnership grow with our state departments, but unfortunately, they're not willing to work with us.
Oh, okay.
Except force more mandates,
Super.
unfunded mandates on us. Anyway, sorry.
That'll be part of our legislative.
There goes my blood
priorities.
pressure.
Glad I could help.
Thank you.
Mrs. Coleman has a question.
Yes, Ms.
I have a
Coleman.
comment in regards to your question. So I have met with the Department of Labor and Industries, and they do offer us to have people come out and look at our facilities. They have offered that anytime I want to go in and buy somebody, that we can do that. But they also were the ones who recommended that we start attending the Washington City Safety Summit that we hosted this year.
Yeah.
And so that's part of, and we invite them to the Safety Summit every year, and so that's part of where they are able to come into the city and see what's going on.
Okay.
So I have invited them here, and they said they had no concern at all whatsoever at this time.
Ms. Coleman, that's wonderful. Thank you.
It's the team that we've built at the table.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes, good deal.
So we've been following up with them on a regular email, and we've resolved the entire.
Did I take my negative comments back off the record? Anything else for Mr. Boyce? Thank you, Mr. Boyce. Let's see. All right. Yes, Mr. Randolph.
Nothing to report, sir.
Except that the calendars are in my mailbox.
Oh, good.
Thank you. And Mrs. Ripp is not here. Mrs. Hartman, are you supplying? Okay. We'll get that next time. And the chief is out and on his way back. We'll be here tomorrow for the safety meeting. Chief Jackson.
Thank you, sir.
We're just rolling right through this.
We have a few things to report. Our call volumes continue to be up from prior years. We have some exciting things happening around the first of the year. So as you're aware, we're increasing our inspection program, including the city of Woodlands. So we will be hiring a part-time inspector next month to help with that volume across the district for inspection of existing occupancies. Additionally, we will be hiring 2 firefighters, hoping to increase our paramedic staffing level. And that is with falls in line with a lid lift that our voters within the district approved a couple of years back. So we have that. In addition to that, our fleet is aging. We have, I believe, 7 frontline vehicles that are 20 years or older starting next year. So we have, we've been fortunate, the Cowlitz Tribe received a grant to purchase 1 replacement fire engine for us. So we'll be putting that into service and purchasing 1 within the district as well to help us with that aging fleet. Additionally, in January, we have some routine staff changes where we'll be moving a few folks around. So there may be, maybe some different faces in Woodland. All folks that have worked here before, but we'll make sure that we get them in and make introductions. So if there's any changes, folks know who the new faces are. That's all I have to report. Unless you have any questions.
Questions for Chief Jackson?
Just look forward to having discussion regarding the 2021 budget and the district, because we've got some challenges.
Yeah, and I think the district will certainly look at that. I know we are looking at pursuing annexation as well, which would provide a long-term stable solution, which would separate the financial pieces between the district and the city. So I know we look forward to presenting some information on that for the council to consider in the coming year.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Mr. Goddard.
Thank you. So we've received 1 new application, and it's the ARCO at corner of Dyke Access in Sherman. So it's the 3rd time we will have reviewed that. So if you recognize that name, it's because it keeps coming up. We've issued 2 certificates of occupancy in the last month. So the Dutch Brothers and Red Canoe are now fully operational structures. And the Trust Company and BYUM RV, we expect them to be in for certificates of occupancy this month. I think the Trust Company should be within a week or so, I think. And BYUM RV, I think they want to get it before the end of the year. So those are coming. We completed 2 batches from retooling our code. Both the code enforcement program went through the Planning Commission, and the first batch of code corrections, and they will be coming to you on the 18th. So those will be the first of many batches that we need to straighten out our code. We also received word that there's a $15,000 grant available from the Department of Ecology, I believe it is, for updating our shoreline program. We last updated our shoreline program in 2017. But we're coming up on our 8-year requirement, so we're taking a look at that, and we may not need to make any changes, but since the money's there and we're on the schedule with the rest of the county, both Clark and Cowlitz are doing it at the same time, so it might make sense for us to accept that grant money and establish it so that we're on the same calendar as the county. That way next time, we might be able to get them to handle some of the workload for us. So we'll see how that goes. Also, with the department, I went to the Chamber of Commerce last week or the week before, sorry, and talked about the accessory dwelling unit training that I went to, and talked to them about some stats about housing in the community, and I think it was well received. I got some good feedback that people thought it was interesting. I think the Chamber likes hearing from our department the idea that we're starting to interact with them, and that we're actually thinking ahead and looking at some of the concerns that they have. So hopefully you're getting good feedback on that. And I think that's it for my department for this month.
Questions for Mr. Goddard?
I have one.
Mr. Fredericks?
Mr. Goddard, you had mentioned that we just updated the 2017 Shoreline Master Program. You said 8 years. why would we be applying for a grant for something that doesn't need to be updated until 2025, if I'm doing the math correctly, unless
So
I'm...
under the shoreline management adopting RCWs, we're required to update it every 8 years. And I'm not sure exactly why it was updated in 2017. It may have just been minor updates, but we're required to update it every 8 years. And for Clark and Cowlitz, that is the 2020 year. So if we don't update it, then our next update would be 2025, which means there would be no grant funding available because there are no ecology funds for us to get on the 8-year schedule in 2025. So it's kind of one of those, do we want to waste the money or do we want to do it so that next time we actually have to do it?
I'm sorry. When I hear things like that, it just, state tax dollars that are grants back to the cities, it just doesn't make any sense to me, but I'll never make sense of it, so I won't try. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Goddard? All right, thank you, Mr. Goddard. Ms. Coleman, welcome, Chief Coleman, welcome back to the great state of Washington. Hope you had a wonderful vacation.
I did.
And
Well deserved.
we got to work with that guy. Yeah. What do you have for us this evening?
I have a little presentation for you. Now, most of this we've already kind of gone over because you've seen it in the council agendas as we needed to approve things, right, proclamations, etc. So, and we didn't do a presentation last month. So, I'm going to give you kind of the presentation of the past, the present, and the future all at once. So, there we go. So, as you know, we had on December 2nd is today, and we did the Make a Difference Day proclamation. We signed that on October 21st. So, there's a little photo showing to see Public Works accepting that proclamation for that Make a Difference Day. I knew you'd love that picture.
Yeah. Why wouldn't I? I'm wearing the same shirt tonight. I think they're going to think I don't have any clothes.
Take it off. Right? Okay, so then on October 26th, we had a total of 114 volunteers. And right there you show the volunteers gathering at the Woodland Middle School and did a variety of projects throughout the city. And the next few pictures just show a couple things that were going on, picking up leaves downtown, helping individuals at their homes. The one major one that most people can see around town is the roundabout there on State Route 503. And I just wanted to mention that the Kiwanis did all the labor for that, and they also have come back to me and said they want to maintain the roundabout for us, which is wonderful. It helps us in our labor force because we have very limited labor force for our park type setting, even though it's not a park, but we consider that a park type setting for that roundabout.
A lot of positive feedback on that as well, the work that was done up there.
So, and I wanted to mention that Bigfoot Yard and Rock was a major contributor to all of the supplies there, as well as Sagawa Nursery, which doesn't come as a surprise to us, but Bigfoot Yard and Rock is new to the city as a business. And then also, Ace Hardware donated the fabric for the roundabout, and then the corner store that's right across the street there, they actually opened their facility for a restroom for all of the people who are working there to come in and use their facility just for a restroom, which I thought was really nice and very, very kind. So then they also did a drone of the project, and they have it posted on their website. So that's kind of cool to know.
The Kiwanis does?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then here's just another photo of some kids working downtown, some of the high school students that volunteered. And then on the next picture, we also were part of the Woodland Career Fair Day. As you know, Public Works was there. We represented our wastewater plant, water plant, and our streets. And so we're able to share some photos to the school-age kids to let them know kind of what Public Works is all about. And quite a few of them were surprised that we actually had some electronics, and one of the kids says, we probably don't have any programming there. Well, actually, we do have programming in our water plant, our wastewater plant. So they're like, oh, so it's kind of raised some eyebrows as far as what they can get into It's not as intense as if that's what their only job they had, but to know that they did have to do some programming there was kind of neat. And then we went to both Travis Goddard and I, the planning director, and I went to the IACC conference, which you are familiar with, we talked about a little bit, and that was at the Wenatchee Convention Center on October 22nd through the 24th. And we thank the city and the citizens for sending us there, as it helps us obtain funds for the city. And when we attended there, we attended seminars about the Washed Out Pedestrian and Bicycle Program, which, you know, we've applied for grants for those. And then also the Safe Routes to School grants and the RCO Recreation and Conservation grants, with the tribal session was involved in there as well. We also attended the USDA Community Facilities Funding Workshop, and also what's new with the Public Works Board that's going on, what kind of grant opportunities and funding they have available. And then also Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, which, you know, we've received numerous amounts of funds from them over the past year, the city of Woodland has. And an overview of the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Program, which we kind of talked about. We have that asbestos water line that's down Scott, and they have it's not a grant, it's actually a loan program, which is a low loan. It's a 1% interest rate. But it was kind of neat to know that if we need to go to them for maybe our water tower or whatever, that we're going to construct a 2 million gallon water tower, that we'd be able to obtain some funds at a very low interest rate if we need to go that route. So it was kind of neat to know too. We attended a dinner with Gray & Osborne, which is one of the engineering firms that does a lot of work for the city, and we had a pretty good visit with the city of Toppenish, city manager, and OMAC, Public Works Director, and some other participants there. And then on the way home, as we went to that convention center, Travis and I shared at the last council meeting that we were able to stop at the city in Union Gap, which took advantage of a lot of the funds of these seminars that we went to build their brand new City Hall and Police Station. So it's kind of neat, and they were actually shown in some of the sessions as far as their funding was available for them to build that. So it was kind of neat how it all tied together, and we were able to stop and tour it, talk to the Public Works Director, and get some pretty good photos of that facility. So. And then, as you can see, I just took some various, I didn't take that one because I'm in it, but anyway, had some various pictures of some of the sidewalks that we're doing around town. I don't know if many of you have driven around town, but we have really increased our sidewalks throughout the town. I want to say maybe 2,000 feet of sidewalks, new sidewalks this year in town. And so this right here in particular is right along Pacific. That's right in front of, I guess they call it Toads, but the Astro gas station. That's the new ADA ramp that's right there. This is the one to the right is along Beechwood, and that's part of the CDBG funding. So, then the next one, the next photo. That is CDBG grant. D came off of the Beechwood, sorry about that. The D sidewalks. Anyway, so those are just different angled photos of the sidewalks that went in there, the ADA ramps. The bottom picture is the sidewalk and a driveway transition that we did there. So some of the driveways are a lot steeper than the sidewalk, so you have to kind of transition that driveway in so nobody, has a hitch on the back of the truck and goes in and scrapes the bottom, whatever. So the contractors that we have hired have done an amazing job at those transitions, and I think actually improved the value of the homes as well, because they have pretty much half of a new driveway going up there, so that was kind of neat.
Slowing down, Jason.
That's okay. I'm slowing down. I'm still on Maui time.
Easy.
So this is a CW Cog Transportation grant, and this was actually for our Hoffman Street sidewalk. So if you haven't been down Hoffman, lately go down and see the new sidewalks that have been on Hoffman Street. And then we have, as you can see, we have ADA access on that street as well. So those sidewalks turned out pretty well. Right now, we had to hire, because that was federal funding, we had to hire another contractor to come in and tie in anything that was on private property outside of the public right-of-way. So to tie in you had to hire a contractor to do in the public right-of-way, the sidewalks. Then we had to hire another contractor to come in and do anything on the private property side of it, which seems kind of crazy, but we can't mix the dollars at all whatsoever. So there's a contractor out right now tying in the private driveways and sidewalks, the individual sidewalks to the homes, to our public sidewalks. So And this is an emergency repair that we did, and that was where the fire hydrant was hit on Robin Street and Boring Street. So as you know, it was all hands on deck. We had WashDOT involved, we had the City of Vancouver, we had Callet's Clean Sweep coming in. That was pretty substantial flooding there along Robbins and Boring Street cleanup, so that was taken care of. And then, let's see, my eyes are getting old. So anyway, we have some photos up there and basically showing us backing out catch basins, and then on the top left, and that was the City of Vancouver was helping us out there as well. Then we have the sinkhole repair that we did on Bozarth and 2nd, so that's been done. We actually have a contract out right now. When we backfill, we do it with cold asphalt, and so we have a contract out right now that we just awarded, that you guys awarded at the last council meeting, not to exceed $15,000. Bids came back at $8,000, which was really nice. So we'll be doing the hot work. We'll be cutting out the cold mix and putting in the hot asphalt in the next couple weeks. And then on the bottom, as you guys know, when you're driving down Park Street, which we also have new sidewalks on, I don't know if you've noticed that, on Park Street. So, but we had some really old dead-end signs there. I don't know if you knew that. They're all falling down. There's a broken fence and everything. So we pulled all that out and we put in the new road signs there to show that it's a dead-end road. I think it looks great. So just trying to clean up the city a little bit. At the water treatment plant, we have a new storage tank for our polymer that we use for our suspended solids. And then we have that UV project upgrade that we're doing. So we usually keep the polymer in the building, but because of that UV upgrade, we have to move it out. So we had to buy a building to put the polymer in. And so we actually don't have a storage facility for a forklift because we need to move that out of the building as well. So we're gonna have to look at an alternative source for next year to be able to do forklift. It's under a temporary structure right now, which will be fine for a year or two, but we'll want to look at something permanent down the road. And this right here, you know, a lot of times you guys don't get to see the capital projects or whatever we buy. So this is where we suck out when we have a grease clog, and we have the City of Vancouver come and they suck up the grease out of the catch basins. We actually have to take a grease separator box and we take off the top of the grease out of the truck before they haul it away. And so this is a little tank that we purchased that has like a garbage, it's like a filtration bag. Think of it like a flour sack, but it's not really a flour sack, you know. Maybe if you make jam. I don't like to think that it's sewage. I like to think of making jam, okay? And you're getting the seeds out of the jam. So anyway, this basically, it allows the grease to be collected and you can throw that away. And then your nice jelly comes out the bottom. So how does that sound? I don't really like to think it, because it really stinks.
Is that what I'm smelling as I take an exit off of?
Jelly.
Jelly. Oh,
yeah, jam. Grandma's jam.
A lot of times you're not smelling our sewer plant. Our sewer plant, I mean, I rarely smell it. You're smelling the Waltz meats, the slaughterhouse.
Oh, it just is. It's just exit 21 as I'm coming off the exit.
Yeah, and it's coming from Waltz.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I thought maybe that's what I was smelling.
You know, yeah, because I can go in there and it's not in there. I'm not saying that we're perfect, but we're pretty damn close.
Okay.
So close you're gonna get.
So in our wastewater, also in the updates, that's our flow trend. Remember we purchased that was one of the capital projects. That's a roll-off sludge dewatering container. So there's the container out there. You can see that we purchased that. And then we have a new concrete pad out there for the sludge roll-off truck. So you can see there's a big. They look so clear when I'm looking at them on my computer. When they just start. I need to make them bigger. Maybe I just sit too far back, but that's a new concrete slab there because as we were rolling those containers and you roll them out, it actually collapses the asphalt and makes rutting in the asphalt. So we actually put concrete in there, put in some pretty good joints in there. So it works with some steel plate joints in there. And then, okay, so this, I was so excited about this. So do you remember how I was working with BNSF last year? Like the first year I got here, and I thought, oh man, the pedestrians don't have a safe place to cross. I've been trying to work with them. They're like, oh no, we're going to give you a grant. And then they came back and said, no, we're not going to give you a grant. And then recently they came back and said, we're going to close off your road. And I said, no, you're not going to close off our road. They, oh, we're going to close it off. I said, okay, well, while you're out there, what are you doing? They said, we're going to put in these plates. I said, can you extend them a little bit for our pedestrians? And they extended them on both sides. So I was really excited about that because, they were going to make us pay for that before. So they worked out with us really well. They closed the roads off over, I think it was Veterans Weekend is what they did that. And then we came back and now we have extended plates on both sides. And there was actually pedestrians crossing them today when I went out to take the pictures. And so I was really excited about that because he walked right over the plates and it was good footing for him, so that was kind of cool. And that's neat because now we can tie our sidewalks in there when I extend the sidewalks right up to those plates, so that's going to be kind of cool.
And we didn't have to pay for it.
And we didn't have to pay for it. I know, I'm so excited.
It's like getting a coupon.
It is a free coupon.
It was a sidewalk coupon.
Yeah, and it was a 2-for-1 on both sides.
Yeah, there you go.
So-
I'm just saying. Hey, you know
So
what?
this is our water treatment
We doubled
plant
up.
updates. This is our control panel that we updated up at our water treatment plant. So this is where we talk about the programming to the school individuals. And this is it installed. So it's pretty cool. It's up and running. And right now we're just working on a new program. We bought some new software, so we're doing that. And then you can see the generators out there. We actually just tested. We have the generator at the water treatment plant now. So if we have a power outage, we'll have some water. Anyway, and we tested that, and everything tested up fine. Started up fine. Now, I haven't asked council to approve this yet, but I'm going to tell you what we just got in the mail while I was on vacation. So you know we apply for grants all the time. So,
Listen, just hear her out, okay? It's like another
Just hear me
coupon.
out.
It's like another
Just hear me
coupon.
out. So, one of the grants we applied for was a TIB grant. We applied for a bunch of different roads throughout town because you know we have no money for roads. Anyway, they came back and awarded us $371,000, and of that, it's a $412,000 project, and of that we only have a $61,000, not 15%. Okay, so but we get basically almost a $500,000 project out of it. And what it is going from Lakeshore Drive, but it's on Goring Street, all the way to where it turns in Davidson makes a turn. So it's to do a full paving project on that section of road that we haven't touched in years. So we're going to have, if council approves it, we'll be able to redo the asphalt on that road to make our entrance into downtown look a lot better. So we'll be using all of our street funding, but at least we'll get a longer stretch of road for $61,000 versus a couple hundred feet.
Do we have any impact fee money?
1,500 feet. What?
Do we have any impact fee money?
Yes, we will be using our transportation impact fee money for that.
Okay, $62,000 worth?
$62,000 worth.
Do we have that much?
I don't know how much we have in the budget right now. Pete knows.
Okay.
Just saying.
We'll find out, huh?
We'll find out. Yeah, we're gonna bring some more business in town.
Okay.
So, okay, and then as you know, coming up this Saturday, everybody bring your families, bring your kids, grandkids, whatever you have. Dogs. Dogs are good. Bring your dogs, as long as they don't fight with other dogs. Keep on a leash. So, December 7th, 5:30 p.m., we're going to have the tree lighting ceremony, which we're piggybacking on with the Moose Lodge there. And so we're going to have, we invited the Woodland High School and the jazz band and choir. So we're going to have the jazz band playing ahead of time. And then and when we do the tree lighting ceremony, we'll have a drum roll, and then you're going to walk down Candy Cane Lit Lane to where Santa Claus is, and have hot dogs, hot chocolate, coffee, and cookies, and then we're going to have Christmas carolers down there. And then we have kind of a winter wonderland going on with one of the residents in Woodland that didn't want to be mentioned, that are donating some of their inflatables.
And I will say they got the date wrong, and they set up on Saturday. This past Saturday, and they had to.
They did not.
They did. So
it was a trial.
I told them it was a good dry run. They did great.
Yes. So anyways, this Saturday.
I felt really bad. It was a 2.5-hour project, and then they tore it down.
Well, it'll only be an hour and a half.
I'm hoping that they can streamline some of the process.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. And so everybody come out there. We're going to be handing out the holiday spectacles again this year. You guys remember those? Did you come out to it last year, you guys?
I did.
I just pulled my glasses out.
Yeah.
Glasses.
I still have a set.
We have glasses this year, so come out and use them. If you haven't been there, I'm going to be disappointed in each one of you that don't come.
And there you go.
guys need in here too.
I'm a
So anyway, come on, it's going to be fun.
big disappointment.
What?
I've been known to be a big disappointment, so
No,
that's
you
fine.
wait. You see the glasses. I have the perfect glasses for you.
Ms. Coleman, did you already discuss the other grant that was awarded?
It hasn't been official yet, so I haven't discussed it.
Okay. Never mind.
It's not an official writing. This one I have is officially in writing when I was on vacation. It came to me in a letter saying, you get this money.
Okay.
As long as the council approves it.
Gotcha.
That's why I bring it up, hopefully the council will approve it next council meeting.
Thank you. Questions for Ms. Coleman?
Very thorough report, Ms.
Yeah.
Coleman.
She missed the last couple. Didn't
Well,
you?
I had a thing.
Yeah. Jeez. Heard that before. No questions. All right. Thank you, Ms. Coleman. It's always amazing to me to see the inner workings of the wastewater treatment plant.
Yes.
Before I was mayor, I had no
The
idea.
chili plant.
Yes, how much behind the scenes, and I think our citizens would be surprised if they ever got a tour or saw behind the magical curtain of what happens at a city. It's amazing, and we appreciate all the hard work you do. Thank you. Moving on to consent items.
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Humberg, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Will the clerk please take the vote?
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Humphrey.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Consent items have passed. Before we move on to action items, does council want a break, or do you want to push through?
Just put it down.
All right. Moving on to action items. Action item C, ordinance number 1446, to adopt a declaration of a moratorium against self-service storage applications within the city of Woodland. First and final reading.
So can I ask a question first?
Ms. Humbird.
At this point, do we talk about the people that have asked to continue with their plans?
After motions on the floor, I believe it can be discussed.
Okay. Move to approve action item C, ordinance number 1446.
Second for discussion.
Moved by Councilmember Humberg, seconded by Councilmember Fredericks. Councilmember Humbird.
Well, I would like to look at, or think about, talk about the, at least two people that have come in and asked, that had plans for a storage unit of some kind, and have submitted their pre-apps, and what can we do to make that all happen?
Councilmember Fredericks.
What determines where someone is at? Now, it indicates on here that this moratorium does not affect approved or vested self-storage projects. What defines vested? Does that occur after the application?
It is upon the submission of a completed application. That's what it does.
So can you explain to me a pre-application? When I submit to you a pre-application, how long can I sit on that pre-application before that pre-app becomes an application? I'm not familiar with that process.
So to be vested under Washington state law, you have to have submitted a fully complete application, which includes all of the submittal items, and have paid the fees at the time to qualify for vesting. Some jurisdictions like Clark County allow contingent vesting, is what they call it in Clark County, meaning that if you've applied for a pre-application conference and your pre-application conference included all the submittal information you needed, plus they paid their fees, it's like being vested for the application that's going to come next. So it's kind of like, since you have your hand on the door, we're going to count that as you're in the door for the purposes of vesting. Now, the city of Woodland does not have that in its code, but it does demonstrate that vesting can be determined by the local jurisdiction based upon your code. So does that answer your question?
So just a clarification on code. When the council, if the council were to approve a moratorium and allow for a contingent, would that be something that the council would be allowed to do, given our law is, the law that is currently on the books would be inconsistent with that action?
So my suggestion actually would be, so if you look at section 4, which is the vested rights section that you quoted, would be to simply add a caveat at the end which says something like, applicants who have completed a pre-application conference and who apply for an application before the end of the year, before the next 30 days, would be considered vested under this moratorium. That might be one way to do it. The other thing to bear in mind, and that is, even if they are not vested under this ordinance, what it basically means is they would be in a holding pattern until the Planning Commission does their work and they make a recommendation and it comes back to you, at which point you can choose not to adopt any code changes, in which case it's just been an unfortunate delay for them. You could change to adopt a code that says they are prohibited, in which case, at that point, they would have no other option. But you could also, and whether this is a month from now or 6 months from now, you could always say, we're going to make the exception for anybody who has completed a pre-application conference and give them a certain date to apply. You could make that part of the adopting ordinance, and so that way, there are other opportunities for them to get involved in the process and continue with their project, given that they've expended enough time and money in the project that warrants consideration. And I've taken a look at their plans, and I know for a fact that they have done considerable work on the project. So this is not a case where somebody said they were going to do something and I never hear from them again. And they've come in and showed me what they've done, and it's pretty substantial work that they've made progress on.
How many pre-applicants or applicants do we have?
To the best of my knowledge, that's one.
One, okay. Okay. I would like to amend the motion to allow the contingency language. So I'll make a motion to add the language, the vested rights language. Did you have that for me? Look at you. The motion to amend Section 4 of the ordinance, vested rights, add the sentence, applicants who have completed the
Pre-application.
Thank you. Pre-application conference and who apply within the next 30 days will be considered vested. Looks like you wrote that with your left foot.
I'll second
That doesn't include the gentleman that we heard from last time.
Seconded by Councilmember Rounds. Does that include, or is this the same project that was spoken? The question on the floor, is this the same project that was discussed at the last meeting? Or is this a completely different project? Same project. Okay, thank you. Same group of folks? Okay. All right, motion on the floor by Councilmember Fredericks to add applicants who have, where are you? Oh, applicants who have completed the pre-application conference and who apply within the next 30 days will be considered vested, and seconded by Councilmember Rounds. Councilmember Fredericks.
I have no discussion. I'll save it for the main motion.
Councilmember Rounds.
No discussion.
Further discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please take the vote on the amended motion? Is that correct?
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Humbert.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
All right, the motion has passed. Moving back to the original motion on the floor for action item C by Councilmember Humbert.
As long as we're adding the contingent, that I think this is a good plan, we need to move forward.
Councilmember Fredericks.
I agree. I would be rather disappointed if I bought a piece of property and had spent, I don't know, $30,000 at looking at doing something and then saying, well, never mind, we don't want to do it there. That to me would be a problem, and I don't think that that is appropriate. So I'm glad we added the amended language, and I think we should adopt this.
Further discussion? Seeing nothing else, will the clerk please take the vote on action item C, ordinance number 1446?
Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Humbert.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Action item C has passed. Moving on to action item D, ordinance number 1445 to adopt the 2020 final budget, final reading.
Move to adopt ordinance number 1445 with the exception of Fund 107, which will be considered at a later date in January of 2020.
Second.
I think Mr. Plaza got you on. Oh, you're going to give that one. I think it was you, Mr. Plaza. Motion on the floor by Councilmember Fredericks to approve action item D with the removal of Fund 107, seconded by Councilmember Plaza. Councilmember Fredericks.
I think I've said everything I have to say about this, other than I know we'll be discussing this at our retreat in early 2020. The mayor said it already tonight, that the budget is unsustainable and is certainly something that will need to be considered at a later date. But that date will be here before we know it. So I think we have a responsibility to make sure that we're taking a hard look at that and having a clear understanding of what should government provide, what should they not provide, and what level of funding should we provide. And I think that's something that really needs to be considered, again, as we start looking at the 2021 budget, which will be here before we know it.
Councilmember Plaza. Further discussion? Seeing nothing else, will the clerk please take the vote on action item D, ordinance number 1445, with removal of Fund 107.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Humbert.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Action item D has passed. Moving on to action item D, authorize the mayor to sign amendment number 1 for contract with Kittleson Associates to study exit 21 and surrounding area for traffic flow.
Move to approve action item E.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Humbert, seconded by Councilmember Rounds. Councilmember Humbert.
We need to be doing something about exit 21 before it's worse than it already is. So I look forward to what the study is.
Councilmember Rounds.
I agree.
Further discussion?
I just have a question.
Mr. Plaza.
Haven't we had a study of exit 21 before?
Just keep studying.
Ms. Coleman.
So the wording here isn't quite as clear as what is on the agenda item that was submitted. This is to add to, it's an amendment to the contract to add $75,000 worth of additional study to the exit. So outside of the exit area, the surrounding area, to tie into the travel demand model that's needed citywide.
Okay.
So we already are studying exit 21, and this is, and that contract was like $250,000. This is for a $75,000 add-on to look at the full traffic demand model that we'll need for exit 20.
And that wasn't covered in the first study I'm taking?
It was not, because what happened was when we actually put Kittleson and Associates and tied them in with Gibson Olson, who had a traffic analysis engineer, that traffic analysis engineer from Gibson Olson said, hey, there was a traffic demand model that was done, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. And they said that data would be really good and useful if we could use that as part of the overall study for 21. And I don't think anybody really knew that it existed. So they went out and found the company who had done that, and Kittleson agreed that it would be really useful to have that. So the CW COG said, if you guys can get it updated and use it for exit 21, and then they could also tie it into the industrial feasibility study, we'll maintain it for you. So WashDOT agreed to say, we'll go ahead, since we agree with you that you need that travel demand model for the forecasting needs of exit 21, we'll go ahead and get that approved for you, and we'll fund that for you out of the $800,000 that we've already allocated towards exit 21. And so they went ahead and agreed to pay the $75,000 for that, but they won't do it officially until it is approved by council.
Perfect.
I know that's kind of hard to put all in that little
Yeah.
square.
No, you got
It's
it.
good.
And the big
Mr.
part
Boyce.
that was mentioned is that the COG is going to keep that up to date going into
Yeah.
the future.
Okay,
So-
perfect.
Because it sat there in limbo for how many years and nobody did anything with it. So it's good to keep it updated. Because the COG will use it, WashDOT will use it, and we'll be able to use it.
Further discussion? All right, seeing nothing else, will the clerk please take the vote on action item E?
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Hubbard.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Action item E has passed. Action item G, ordinance number 1450, as mandated by the passage of local proposition 1 levy lit for law enforcement personnel and equipment.
Move adoption of ordinance number 1450, first reading only.
Sorry, thank you. Moved by Councilmember Fredericks, seconded by Councilmember Plaza. Councilmember Fredericks.
Check in the box.
Councilmember Plaza.
No comment.
Further discussion? Seeing nothing else, will the clerk please take the vote on action item G, ordinance number 1450, first reading?
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Fredericks.
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Hubbard.
Aye.
All right, action item G has passed. Come to the portion of the agenda for adjournment.
Move to adjourn?
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? It's, oh my gosh. 8:09. My phone didn't, might stop working.
What if we just said no?
We wouldn't get the money.
Let's go.
They wouldn't allow us the money.
The will of the voter.
Yes.
This body overrides the will of the voter.